Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like it's about time we started doing some rebuilds around here, and the first club that we're going to do a rebuild with is Barcelona. How are we doing, everybody, and welcome to this Barcelona rebuild here on Football Manager 2023. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, where we're going to see what we can do to Barcelona and see if we can return them to the peak of their glory. I mean, the peak is probably a bit of an ask, but we'll see whether we can get them properly back to the top of Spanish football. They have had a rough time of it in recent years, fairly self-inflicted, let's be completely honest. But we're going to do what we can to try and solve that. And if you're looking forward to see whether we can do that, please do leave a like on the video for me and subscribe so you never miss any lovely Football Manager content from this face right here. If I do sound a little bit off, or if I do end up having to do some cuts because of coughing, I'm currently going through round 2 of COVID, which is just delightful. But hopefully that's not going to affect this video whatsoever. But we're going to get into things. We're going to have a look at Barcelona. I mean, you know Barcelona. You know the club already, but historically one of the biggest clubs in world football. They're the club that any player would effectively leave they would give their firstborn up to go and play for Barcelona. Quite a few of them would anyway. Very historically just fantastic. I mean, what I want to find is how they've done in recent years, just to kind of go through things. But as you can see, in terms of the league, the last time they won the Spanish league was in 2019. They actually haven't won it for 3... Is that 3 years? It is 3 years, yeah. For 3 seasons, they have not won La Liga. So part of this rebuild has to be sorting that out. But they also haven't won the Champions League since 2015. Now, I'm not going to turn around and suggest that that's going to be a target for this rebuild, but we want to try and do something about that, because they've certainly not done very well there, have they? Let's be completely honest. In terms of the Spanish, what's called the Spanish League Cup in here, which is a bit disappointing. It should be the Copa del Rey. No, that's a different competition entirely. Copa del Rey. Is Copa del Rey on here? Yes, it's that one there. They haven't won the Copa del Rey since 2019 either. So it's been a little while since they've won any serious silverware. So the task is going to be for us to try and sort that out. And this is the squad of players, which I've already set a tactic up for. In fact, I've set a few tactics up, because I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to use yet. But this is the squad of players that we've got to use. And we've got some very, very good players. We sort them by ability. We know who number 1 is. It's Robert Lewandowski. Now, superb player. He is an old man, but he is a superb player. So he is going to be our starting striker, and he is going to hopefully get a hatful of... I mean, look at his record for Bayern Munich. It's utterly disgraceful. Absolutely obscene. Disgusting stuff in the best possible way. He is a legendary striker, as it says there. Absolutely. After him, we've got Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who I feel like is one of those goalkeepers that everyone knows is world class, but he just doesn't get a mention. But he is a fantastic goalkeeper. Wonderful to have him in the side. Frankie de Jong is in the club still as well, despite all of the stuff in the summer about him moving to Barcelona, sorry. He's already at Barcelona. At Manchester United, he was going to move to. And also Chelsea at one point. That was a club that was looking at him too. He is still here. We are going to be building the team around him. Youngster Gavi as well. He's only a 3-star player, but he's got bags of potential. He's a homegrown talent. He looks absolutely superb. I've used him in a previous FM. Did I mention I've got COVID brain? Previous FM20. I think I used an older version of him, and he was superb. Ferran Torres. We're familiar with him from our Chelsea save. Was very, very good for... Well, he was all right for us, actually. Someone I wouldn't actually mind moving on. We'll talk about what my transfer plans are in a minute, but he's a pretty good player. Dembele, surprising that he's still at Barcelona, but he is here. Very injury-prone, but rapid, and actually has a decent cross on him, so if we can get the best out of him, that would be great. Araujo, one of the better young defenders in world football. He's 23 years old now, 11 caps for Uruguay at the start of this save. He's got 4.5-star potential. He looks like an absolute superstar in the making. He already looks fantastic, to be fair. And Pedri, everyone knows about Pedri. This kid, 12 caps for Spain at 19 years old. This guy is just superb. Absolutely wonderful. And of course, we all know about Ansu Fati as well. Ansu Fati, the jewel in the crown, very much the player everyone was kind of looking to initially as the Messi, like the heir to the throne. And now both Gavi and Pedri have come through. I think Ansu Fati has got some competition. So it's important to point out there is decent amount of youth in this team. I mean, there's 4 3 first-team players, you could argue, who are going to be in that starting 11. Alejandro Balde looks like he's got good potential. Probably a bit too early for him, though. And then we've got some good younger players who are under the age of 25 who look like they're the business as well. I mean, Eric Garcia, my feelings on him from the Chelsea beta save. But we've got some very, very good talent here. I mean, again, Inaki Peña, we probably don't count in that. But on the other end of the scale, we do have some old men. Gerard Piqué, who in real life has actually retired. I don't know. It's not suggesting that he's going to be retiring here, so we might have him until the end of the season. But not that we'll be using him that much, if I'm being completely honest with you. Sergio Busquets, at 33 years old, actually isn't as slow as I thought he was going to be. But again, he's not going to be that useful for us. We will use him when we need to, but we need to be careful of using him because he hasn't got the pace to really be that effective against certain teams. Lewandowski we know about. Jordi Alba, who did he leave Barcelona? I feel like he left Barcelona and came back, or am I thinking of someone else? I'm probably thinking of someone else, but Jordi Alba, he's been here for a long time. He's still relatively quick. He's still the best left-back at the club. They've tried to replace him and they've not been able to. Speaking of which, his replacement was meant to be Marcus Alonso, who's been brought in, who, he's fine, but this kind of feels like a transfer you make when you really can't afford anyone, because I think it was another free transfer. I can't remember off the top of my head, actually. Was it a free transfer? It was a free transfer. One of the many transfers that they made purely because they didn't have enough money to make any proper transfers. Sergio Roberto and Marc-Andre ter Stegen are the other 2 men in the 30-plus club. We also do have Memphis Depay, who, again, from the Chelsea save, we know is a fantastic striker. Whether we use him as a striker or as a winger is to be seen. And then other players it's worth mentioning that we've got Hector Bellerin, Andreas Christensen, Rafinha, Kessié, all of those guys in, I think it was this season, wasn't it? Again, I think Bellerin, when did he join? Did he join this season? Yeah, he's joined this year from Arsenal on a free. Christensen, again, on a free, I'm pretty sure, when he left Chelsea. Yes, he is. And then the other one, Rafinha, signed from Leeds United for £55 million. Whether he's going to be worth it or not, I don't know. But that's the squad of players. It's a decent squad, but when you look at ability, I mean, Lewandowski's the best player, and then the next best player is the goalkeeper. De Jong's best player after that, and after that, it's a drop to 3 stars for a lot of the team. Don't get me wrong, it's 3 stars comparative to this squad, so Lewandowski is just head and shoulders above everyone else. In another team, Marcus Alonso might be a 3-star player. Same with someone like Depay might be a 4-star player. And obviously, star ratings can change, but it's not a squad that's necessarily jumping out. Now, dear viewer, you're probably thinking, well, that's okay, Stu, because you're going to go out and spend some of that Barcelona money that they just magically make appear out of nowhere. You're absolutely wrong. We've got a transfer budget of 0. So this is going to be a much bigger challenge than I thought it was going to be. I didn't look at this before I decided to do this. I mean, we're not going to be worrying about the debt because it's a 1-season challenge, but we are going to try and be financially responsible. We're going to try and not put anything on installments where we can help it. And we're going to look at players who we can sell. Now, at the moment, we've got 3 players who are wanted by other clubs. Eric Garcia is one of them. He's worth up to £34 million. The club signed him for free from Manchester City. So, I don't know. We might... Oh, no, I'm very much thinking we move him on, to be honest with you, because I don't get on with him. He's short, and he's just not very good, in my opinion. Sorry, Eric. I'm sure you're a lovely chap. Memphis Depay and Ansu Fati are 2 difficult ones. Memphis Depay in particular, because I actually really like him in Football Manager, and I think he'd be a really good addition to the team. He proved in the Chelsea save that he can be a great striker up top on his own, as well as a good winger as well. So this one I'm a little bit conflicted by. We can get up to £46 million for him. Again, he was signed on a free, so we'd make profit on him. But I don't know whether I want to let him go. But if we want to make any transfers, we need to be considering letting players go. Speaking of which, Ansu Fati, I mean, we can't conceivably consider letting him go because he is the heir apparent of Barcelona, isn't he? So it would have to be a heck of an offer, like 35 to 50 million. I'm thinking 100 million. That's the only thing that I see prizing him away from us. But we do need to think about things. You probably already worked out by the positions that we're currently looking at using a 4-3-3 with a holding midfielder. And that is the setup I've got. The interesting thing is, I don't necessarily know... Apologies about my phone going off. I don't quite know what my best midfield 3 is, because we've got those 3 in there at the moment. And by ratings and attributes, they're probably the best. De Jong, Pedri and Gavi. The problem we've got is we've also got Frank Kessié and we've got Sergio Busquets. Now, Busquets, I would not suggest he's worthy of being in this team. It's also worth pointing out Sergio Roberto can play in there as well. But I don't know what the best combination in this formation would be. Is it going to be this, where we've got the deep line playmaker of De Jong spraying the ball to Pedri and Gavi, who are going to just be getting forward? Is it going to be that we have De Jong further forward as a playmaker, maybe as an advanced playmaker on support? We have Pedri as the Mazzala, and then we bring in someone else, like a Busquets, to just be a, I don't know, some form of defensive midfielder, maybe a halfback. You know I love me a halfback. Maybe we do that, but then Gavi's missing out. Maybe we don't bother with having this. Maybe we put Pedri out wide and we bring Gavi back in to be the Mazzala. Maybe we do that. I don't know. I don't know what the best combination of those three is. I also don't know whether the 4-3-3 is the right thing. I have also got a diamond set up, and I think the diamond could actually have some good attributes about it. The only issue with the diamonds, the only issue I see with it, is it does limit some of our players. For example, Ferran Torres can play as a striker, could play as the attacking midfielder, but predominantly he is a winger. Same with someone like Ousmane Dembele. Very much a wide option. Could play up front if needed. Could play as the attacking midfielder. Predominantly he is a winger, and he wastes his 16 crossing really to do that. Rafinha as well. Not really got any ability in the middle of the park. He's all about being out wide. It's not the end of the world if we have him, because we can either try and retrain him, or we can have him as a backup if we decide to change formation. The other thing, which I haven't done yet, which I'm going to very quickly do, is what if we decide that we want to do a 4-2-3-1, which I've not used too much in this game yet. And I've got to be honest with you, when I have used it, I haven't felt overly confident in it. It's just felt a little bit like it just overexposes the teams a little bit. Let me just quickly set up to how I would have it. So it's difficult because I don't really know what the best solution is. Maybe we have you do that. Maybe we have you do that. And then these guys just go gung-ho. And again, the issue of where to play players, because we've got so many talented individuals, trying to work out where to slot them all in is a bit difficult. I am leaning towards a 4-3-3. I feel like that's the one, if I'm being completely honest. It's just the exact combination of which is a problem. Maybe something like that, where we have Pedri going out wide. Maybe we swap you two around and we have Memphis going in as the inside forward. We have Pedri on this side as the Mazzala, and we have De Jong on this side as the advanced playmaker on support. So these two are dictating the play. Sergio is acting as a third central defender for these guys. The fullbacks are doing fullback things, and then Ansu Fati, I mean, really, you're not very good on this side, are you? No, you prefer to be on the other side. And Memphis Depay could do a job on that side, but he's not really that good. So maybe Memphis Depay comes back out. This is what I mean. No, it's difficult to work out exactly what we want to do. I think that's probably the way we'd do it, to be honest with you. I think that's the formation, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to have a tweak and a bit of a fiddle with that during pre-season, and we're going to see what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away. I'm going to have a think about what we're going to do in terms of transfers and things like that. I'm going to identify areas that we need to improve the team on. I'm going to identify players we can afford to let go, and then I'll be back with an action plan, and then we'll go through the transfer window. Okay, so I've accelerated a few days forward into the season just to kind of get my bearings at the club. First thing that's jumped out to me is that I think the 4-3-3 is definitely going to be the formation to go with. I don't know how many transfers we're going to make, because I think we're going to have the issue of moving players on again. First season, it's always a bit of a challenge, because in the game, a lot of clubs have already made a lot of deals. So actually getting the market rolling again is not going to be an easy task. And I think we need to be very prepared to go into the season with this squad of players and just see what we can do. If we can make 1 or 2 transfers, I will be very happy. So the players that are marked out on that tactic sheet there, consider those best case scenario if we can get a player in for each of these positions. I highly doubt that we're going to, but starting at the base of the team, the goalkeeper, we do have ter Stegen. He is going to be our starting goalkeeper. Our backup is Iñaki Peña. He's not good enough, really, let's be honest. A 2-star goalkeeper. If we rely on him at any point, I'm not feeling very comfortable, so I would like to upgrade him. But again, in the nicest way, ter Stegen's going to be our goalkeeper. If we have to have this guy as our backup, so be it. This is one of those positions that will be a last one on the order, if that makes sense. Defensively, I've got both marks off here. Gerard Piqué and Eric Garcia are the two I'm looking at and thinking I don't really want to rely on those two. Arajo and Christiansen are both good enough. But Christiansen, I would say I'd rather he be a backup. So I'd rather bring someone in over the top of him to partner Araujo. But PK and Garcia worry me a little bit. Now, PK, to be fair to him, he's very, very slow. But if we give him the right player instructions, I think he'll be absolutely fine. And as long as we make sure that we're relying on his strengths rather than his weaknesses, i.e., let's not have him pressing high up. Let's have him sitting back and waiting for the option to tackle. I don't think it'll be the end of the world if we have him. So we could probably put him back in and maybe consider just bringing in one central defender. But that is a position I think we desperately do need. And Eric Garcia is the only player at the moment I've put on the transfer list. The only issue with that is, although there are 3 clubs who are in for him, Chelsea are one of them, which does make me laugh a little bit. The problem is they don't want to pay any more than £10 million, even though he's valued at over 30. So that's a bit of a problem, if I'm honest. Moving further forward, I was going to look for a defensive midfielder, but actually Kessié can do a good job as a halfback, as well as Sergio Busquets. So between the two of them, they've got that role covered, I think. We do also have Sergio Roberto. I haven't put him on the transfer list yet because it's going to upset him, and he is a highly influential player at the club, but I am going to put him on the transfer list. I think we're going to move him on. But I'm not 100% sure, actually. I'm saying that I am going to do that, but Sergio Roberto actually is a decent option at right back as well, so I need to have a think about that. The only reason why I'm thinking him is because we can't move Bellerin on because he's only just joined the club. Bellerin would be my preferred option to move on because other than his pace, he's just not that good, really. But I'm considering right back, but I haven't put it on there very deliberately. But Roberto is someone I am considering moving on. I'm considering left back as well because Jordi Alba has picked up a 2 to 3 month injury. He got injured in the first friendly of the season, which is really annoying. So at the moment, we have got Alejandro Balde, who is a very, very, very promising player. And if we have to use him, it will accelerate his growth. And he has already got good physicals, but he's obviously not quite at the level that we need him to. But we do have Marcos Alonso as well. Marcos Alonso is a decent player. You know, he's got 154 appearances for Chelsea. You don't get that if you're not very good. So we have got him at the moment, but I would like to bring in a left back as well, if possible. But I've not got it on here because we don't necessarily need that. But the injury to Alba has accelerated whether we do or not. So put that down as a maybe. One we definitely need, and it is after looking at the midfielders, although we have got 6 midfielders for 3 spots, which is, I think, the ideal that you want, we don't have more than one player really for the Mazzala role. Now, in a way we do, because both Gavi and both Pedri can play there. Frenkie de Jong plays the playmaker, as well as both Pedri and Gavi. And we've got 2 players who go for the halfback role. So really, if we have someone in who can play Mazzala and playmaker, and add to that kind of 4-man rotation of Pedri, Gavi, mystery man number 1, and Frenkie de Jong, if we can get someone else in to go with those players, and then we've obviously got Kessié and Busquets, and even de Jong can go back into that defensive midfield position, I'd feel a bit more comfortable. So I feel like that position there is another must. So that one and centre-back at the moment are the 2 big ones we want to do. We don't necessarily need a winger. We have got 4 very good wingers, and Memphis Depay can play out there as well, so that makes 5. But I don't trust Ousmane Dembele. I do not trust him. Just injury-wise, he's had so many injury problems that I kind of worry that a gust of wind will take him down. But when you look at him, he's actually a very decent player. He's got very good pace. Dribbling and crossing are very good. His end product isn't too bad with finishing and long shots. His passing's okay. It's not brilliant. I don't want to rely on him, but if we have to, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I would like to try and move him on, especially £200,000 a week. I would like to get that off the wage budget if that's okay. So in terms of positions, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not looking for a new striker because Memphis Depay, I think, will be a great backup to Lewandowski. He can also play out wide as well and do a very good job there. We've seen all of this in the Chelsea save. So I'm not worried about him. But if someone came in of Man City, Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus and Spurs ilk and offered £50 million for him, I think I'd have to accept it. And that would get the ball rolling because we can definitely get a cheaper backup striker and then put that money to use somewhere else. So I'm not ruling out the sale of Memphis Depay, but I'd rather not lose him because we know how good he is. That's the one thing I'll say about him. We actively know how good he is because of the Chelsea save. So actually, he's the one safe bet in this team. I mean, there's a few players you could put down as safe bets, but he's one of the main safe bets in this team. Ansu Fati as well. I'd rather not lose the jewel in the crown. But Man City and Paris Saint-Germain, if they're sniffing around for him, we can get anywhere near. But I'd rather not have £50 million. I'd rather have a lot more than that. I mean, put it like this. If they come in with £50 million, it's not getting accepted. It's getting counter-offered for £100 million. And we'll see who really wants him. In terms of players I want to actually move on, though, It's very difficult because there's a lot of players who've just joined the club in real life. And I think, as well as Eric Garcia, it's probably Sergio Roberto and Dembele who I'd try to move on. But try is the important word. I don't think we're going to be able to. I actually think we're going to be stuck with this squad. We'll move Eric Garcia on. I just don't know how much money we'll get. At the moment, he's up for £20 million. No one's really biting on it because they all want to pay around £10 million for him. So I actually think it'll get to the point we'll put him out for £10 million and we'll try and get a bit of a bidding war started for him and try and get that as high as possible. Now, whether that'll work or not, I don't know. But I just don't trust him. There was something about using him in Chelsea where we struggled to get good games out of him. I mean, he's played 26 times for Barcelona, so he must be decent enough, but I just don't think he's quite at the level that we need him to be. But that's the plan. We're going to go forward in the transfer window now. I will bring you back on first... Well, it's not the 1st of July, actually, because we've already passed that point because of the start of the season. If we make any big sales, I'll bring you back. If we make any big signings, I'll bring you back. We will conclude this part of the episode at the end of the summer transfer window on deadline day. And then, as we've done before in FM22, we'll accelerate to the halfway point of the season. And then we'll see what we need to do at that point. Hopefully, it won't be that much. Okay, transfer business has started to take shape. We're kind of going to be compromising on a few deals, but we're also going to be bearing a few things in mind with this as well. So Eric Garcia has left. He's out the club for £13 million. Remember, though, the club signed him for absolutely nothing. And remember, the club originally sold him for £1.8 million. So we've made a massive profit on him twice. So let's not be too sad about the fact that he's only gone for £13 million. He's out the club. He's gone to Bayern Munich. Best of luck to you, Eric. We've also got a couple of... Well, we've got a couple of young players on the way out as well, but there's another one that we've got on the way out as well, and that is Memphis Depay. We'll quickly look at that one first before we look at the other ones. £30 million, Manchester City. We're just waiting for that contract to get wrapped up. We did have to agree to a payoff for that. Now, I know I said I didn't want Depay to go. He actually turned around and said that he was going to consider his options at the end of his contract, so I just thought, let's cut ties with him right here, right now. We don't want a player at the club who doesn't want to be here. Let's just get rid, and let's just do that now. So hopefully that transfer will go through. But the most interesting one is this guy right here, Estanis Pedrola. The amount of counter offers we've had 7 million, 8 million, 9 million. It keeps going up and up and up. It's at 12 million now. I don't know whether I've put him out for 13. I think we have, but we haven't accelerated another day yet. So we'll do that and just see whether anyone does come in for him for that. And then also on our Tenas, we're letting him go for only a little bit of money, but we're just basically looking at getting as much money as possible. Taking out £6 million for Trincao, which doesn't count. We could raise up to £50 million here. Take away the 6 million, that's £45 million, and we've already made 15 million. Now, in terms of transfers in, one player we've got in at the moment who we're looking at is Dani Olmo. He'd cost us a decent amount of money. I'm having to kind of renege on the whole don't use installments on deals, because I honestly don't know how we're going to get any transfers over the line if we don't do that. So I'm looking at Dani Olmo. He'd come in, he'd be a good Mazzala for us. He'd also do a job as a playmaker if we needed him to as well. But another Spanish player, formerly of Barcelona, so bringing another homegrown boy back. He's 24 years old. He's relatively young. He'd be really good. Centre-back is proving a little bit more difficult. We're not finding many who are actually that cheap, but it's fine. It's okay. It won't be a problem. Now, looking at Dani Olmo, I think he'd be a decent player for us. I would rather him be a squad player, if I'm being completely honest. But we'll see whether we can get him to agree to that. Is there anything else we can get him to agree to? I mean, he's not going to be our free kick taker. I'm sure we've got... Have we got better free kick takers at the club, actually? Let's have a quick look. In terms of free kick takers, who's our best? Who's our best, actually? Let's have a look. Free kick takers. It's Marcus Alonso and Robert Lewandowski. So we can't really promise him that, can we? We can't really promise him that. Let's just see where the squad player will work. Maybe it will. Okay, it's not out of the question. Let's try and promise him something. Let's see whether we can do something. So let's promise him... I know it's a bit cheeky. Let's promise him we'll win the Champions League in 2023, 2024. And let's promise him that one. Let's say that when Pedri's not here. Let's say when Pedri's not here, he'll be a regular starter. Okay. I mean, we'll be rotating through them anyway, so it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I mean, we've just agreed to a worse deal, really, if we're being completely honest, but never mind. Right, we'll try and get the wage down. We'll try and get the signing on fee down as well. The agent fee can go up a little bit. I don't mind giving him a bit more for that. Champions League, let's put that up to 500k. Appearance fee will pop up a little bit. Goal bonus will put up to 10k. We'll pop an assist bonus on here as well. I think he would be a very good addition to that midfield. He's exactly the type of player that I'm looking at. He's young. He can play as a playmaker and as a Mazzala. He can do that job really nicely. He could play out wide as well, which I think is an absolute bonus. We'll give him that as well. We'll lower that a little bit. I'm even willing to lower his release clause a little bit, and we'll even give him, this is how generous I am, combined goal and assist bonus for 20 goals and assists combined. I think that's very, very generous on my part. Let's suggest terms, and that's not the answer I wanted, Danny, if I'm honest. That's not the answer at all. We'll lower that a little bit, but we won't go as low as we did before. I'll tell you what, we'll raise the goal and assist bonus a little bit, just to see if we can sweeten that deal. I might even actually give him 5% of any profit we make as well, and there we go. Deal done. He's not the most exciting player in the world, but he's a player who will improve the squad. And again, bear in mind, we absolutely do need a more attacking-minded midfielder in there. At the moment, I am also considering Sergio Roberto as a right-back rather than anything else. We did try to move him on. He threw a wobbly. Members of the squad threw a wobbly. He's now our backup right-back. That's how it works. I don't know. Can he play left-back? Because if he can play left-back, he also solves another problem for us. He can't play left-back. Why can't you play left-back, Sergio? Why can't you play left-back? Why can't you play left-back, Hector? Because that'd solve a lot of problems as well. What's your footedness, actually? Let's have a quick look at that. Reasonable left foot. Could train you as a left-back. Could train you as... You know what? I'm training you as a left-back. We need another left-back. I don't know why I'm training you as a defending left-back, because I don't use defending left-backs. Learn to be a left-back, Hector. Learn to be a left-back. Yeah, central defence is a bit of a problem, and considering we've just sold a central defender and we're in the middle of bringing in a midfielder, kind of need to solve that. We do also need to bring in a backup striker. I do keep forgetting about that. So I have things I need to do still, but we're looking like we've got, again, take out that £6 million. Bear in mind, we've already got £15 million in the bank, and we've got a potential, what's that? A potential transfer income of 45 million. So that's going to be £60 million we've got potentially. And again, when Depay goes, that's a decent amount of wages that will be off the books as well. £160,000 a week, that'll be gone. And then also when Pedrola goes as well, that's actually not a lot of money, actually. I'm assuming Tenas is going to be similar. Yeah, not much money when they go, but a little bit nonetheless. So I'm going to accelerate a bit forward. We'll see if we can get the Olmo deal across the line. Hopefully, the Depay deal gets confirmed as well. And we'll see whether I can find a centre-back and a striker to come in. Hopefully we can. Wow. That is a right kick in the balls. The annoying thing is, apparently it's the wage that we offered to him. Didn't come back and say, I want a better offer. Just turned around and said, they're offering more money. To come back to us, we'd have offered you more money, Danny. I was really looking forward to using Danny Olmo as well. Okay, well, we need to go back to the drawing board on that. In terms of striker, Gabriel Barbosa is the player that we're looking at. A total amount of £16 million. It's about an even split in terms of what we're paying now and what we're paying in the future. I think he'll do a decent job. He's younger than Memphis Depay. He is a natural finisher. He is a good player. One of those wonder kids never quite made it. But I think he'll do a good job for us. So I'm looking forward to getting him in, assuming that what's just happened with Dani Olmo doesn't happen there. So we now need to go back and find a new central midfielder along with another... along with the central defender that I'm still having trouble finding. Memphis Depay is moving, by the way. It is confirmed. We're just waiting for the work permit to go out in a couple of days' time. And then we will have that cash. We need to hope that the... Apologies. I think that's the first edit I've had to do with a cough, which I'm really impressed about. Yeah, that money's going to come in, £30 million. It's going to be really helpful to have that because it will actually open up what we can do in terms of transfers. I'm hoping we can get a decent defender in, but at the moment, I am struggling to find any decent defenders on scout reports. I'm really hoping a decent one will come up at some point that we can afford, but who knows. I'll be back when we've either confirmed the signing of Gabriel Barbosa, found a new central midfielder to bring in, or hopefully found a new defender to bring in as well, because, again, kind of need one. Finally, Memphis Depay has gone. That felt like it was taking for absolute ever, but it is the 2nd of August. The work permit's gone through. Depay has left the club. Wow. Now he's left the club, and now we've got £30 million, or £29 million to be specific, to spend, which I'm pretty happy with. And also, Pedrola's move is going to be happening on the 8th, so that's another bit of money we'll be getting in, £12 million to be exact. And Gabriel Barbosa is now coming in for £8.5 million up front, which means we've got plenty of money left. The best part of £38 million to try and bring in a central midfielder and a central defender, both of which are still being a little bit tricky. There's another deal that's potentially happening as well. Paris Saint-Germain put a loan offer in for Ousmane Dembele. I counter-offered with a permanent offer of $40 million, thinking they weren't going to take it. They've actually offered that. I've accepted it. So we're going to see whether they can agree a contract. If they can agree a contract and Dembele goes, I am okay with that. And then we've got another £40 million then, or the best part of. I don't know what the deal structure is. I don't know whether there's any clauses with Ousmane Dembele. I don't think there are. There's none I can see here. There aren't going to be any here because these are all players in. So, yeah, no clauses with Dembele as far as I can see. So, we would just get the money for that. And that's a decent amount of money that we can use to then build the squad more with as well. So, I'm very happy about that, to be honest. I'm very happy indeed. And again, we've got £12 million coming in with this guy. We might actually have a decent amount of money to bring in, not just a decent player, but a great player at both central midfield and also centre-back as well. It is still a bit of a challenge. I have put in a cheeky offer for Sergej Milinkovic-Savic because I did kind of think go big or go home. We are struggling to get a fee that they're going to agree with, but if the Dembele deal goes through, we can actually do a really good deal on that, and we can actually get that deal across and not worry too much because we'll still have plenty of money in the pot. Watch this space. And those final signings are in, and I think that's going to be our transfer window done. Pedro Gonçalves has joined us from Sporting. He is in. He is our new rotation Mazzala. He's going to be involved in a lot of first-team football this season, but £33 million, not all of that up front, of course, but £33 million. For a player of his quality, I think is an absolute bargain. He can play out on the left-hand side as well. If we change to a system with attacking midfield as well, he can do a job. He can even do a job up front. I am very happy with him as a transfer. I'm also very happy with this one. Milan Skriniar. Even though... Oh, actually, there's a thing I need to mention in a minute, which I will do. Milan Skriniar, I think, we've only spent £47 million, potentially up to 52. We only spent about 20-something million, 24 million, I think, up front. That is a ridiculous piece of business, I think, especially when you consider... I don't know whether you're going to be able to see. I don't know whether I'm going to be in the way. But down on this side, there is no Ousmane Dembele sale because he ended up turning down the deal. We have still got Ousmane Dembele in the team. He's actually going to be starting the first game of the season, funnily enough. Yeah, he turned the deal down. He's wanted still by Paris Saint-Germain for loan, but they're going to turn down offers. He's going to turn down contracts for moves. I'm not going to move him on. Unless we get another decent offer in. And he doesn't seem like he wants to go. So in the nicest possible way, if he's going to be here, he's going to play. And he is going to be in the team for the first game of the season. Obviously, you're not going to see that. Remember, this is a rebuild video. It's not about the football we see. It's about the results we get with the transfers we've made. And in terms of the transfers we've made, we haven't made many, but I think we have improved the team with them. Barbosa, Gonçalves and Skriniar. Backup striker, backup central midfielder, backup defender. Gonçalves, 24 years old, relatively young. 25 years old for Gabriel Barbosa. And Skriniar, 27 at the height of his powers. We've brought in 3 very, very good players. And we've only moved on 2 players. We moved on Eric Garcia and Memphis Depay. We also did move on. I don't know whether... I told you, I don't think I did. But we did... Oh, do you know what? It's not going to show up, is it? We moved on that young kid. for £12 million, which helps us get the deal done. All of that means we've got £1.5 million left in the bank, £45,000 per week of wage budget. And I think that's the team. I don't think there's going to be any more business. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this first game. We're going to get through to the end of the transfer window, to deadline day. And I'll bring you back if there's anything crazy that happens. But I'm expecting we'll come back at the end of deadline day with no other business done. And then we'll accelerate through to halfway through the season. And we'll see just how well this Barcelona team does. Deadline day done, and absolutely no more business has been completed. We've left things as they are. We're pretty happy with the squad we've got. We've ended up being the biggest spenders, bearing in mind that includes transfers that happen in real life this season, not just the ones that we did. We apparently brought 20 players in, which is ridiculous. But Real Madrid letting go 44 players, utterly insane. But this is your squad for Barcelona for this rebuild. And I think, actually, Barcelona have got a decent team when you stop and look at it. It just needs to work well as a team, and I feel like that's the thing that hasn't happened, and hopefully I'm the man for the job to be able to do that. But I think the additions of players like Barbosa, Gonçalves, and where is he? He's in the starting 11. Milan Skriniar. I think they're the additions that are really going to help us. The one thing that we didn't do is bring in back a goalkeeper. Just hoping ter Stegen doesn't get injured, because that could be a bit of a problem. As things stand after the first few games, we are currently third in the table. We have won 3, lost 1. That one game, annoyingly, was against Real Madrid, who did beat us 1-0 at the Bernabeu. So, it's not ideal, if I'm honest. But then we have won the other games as well, including a battering of Elche. Is it Elche or Elche? I don't know, whoever they are. We battered them anyway. 7-0. Absolutely destroyed them. Robert Lewandowski is just the main man in the league. He's got 8 goals from 3 games. 3 games, 4 games? Yeah, 8 goals from 4 games. He's been absolutely insane. Alonso's been there with the assists. Fati's been there with the assists. We've been very, very good, and I feel like in the return fixture against Real Madrid, we will get revenge. Right, time to accelerate forward. We're going to go through to the halfway point of the season. 19 games played. We'll assess how things are looking there. We'll decide if we need to do anything in January. And then we'll go through to the end of the season. So, I will see you. I'm going to guess at some point in December. Possibly January. It's a World Cup year. Who knows? But I'll see you halfway through the season. And we are 19 games into the season, halfway in February of all times. Again, that World Cup really affecting things in terms of the fixture list. You'd expect us to have been in January, but no, February it is. And we are currently second, which is pretty good. To be fair, although I do want to win the title, second place wouldn't be a complete and utter failure, because we have struggled to compete, and we are definitely competing. We are 6 points behind, and we've still got to play them in the league one time as well, so it's not all doom and gloom. I'm still looking at the gap here, and I'm thinking, really, we do need to be winning the title this year. But we are doing pretty well. Lewandowski no longer the top goal scorer, but he is second. He is a clear second from Iago Aspas. Karim Benzema ahead only on 3 goals. He's also the second best player in the league by a fraction. Pedri's on the assist chart. Player of the match is Lewandowski is on there. Clean sheets. I do believe Marc-Andre ter Stegen has improved. He has indeed. 9 clean sheets. 11 is the top. So he has done pretty well. Atletico Madrid were doing really, really well to begin with, but they have fallen away. And we are, I wouldn't say comfortably second, but we are second. We'll take that. In terms of results, quickly just to show you, we did lose that game against Real Madrid. We then lost against Valencia in the league, and they have been our only 2 losses. That's the only difference between us and Real Madrid. We've lost 2 games, they've lost none. Same amount of draws, and they have 2 more wins than us. Hopefully, when we play them, we will get a better result. Smattering of draws in there as well. We did get through our Champions League group, by the way. We ended up finishing second in it. I don't know if it's been drawn yet, actually. It has been drawn, and we've been drawn against Manchester City. I do believe that our title challenge in the Champions League might possibly be over. I don't see us getting past the mighty Manchester City, who are currently top of the Premier League by a lot of points. I mean, look at the ridiculousness of that table. I mean, Bournemouth up in 7th, West Ham in 6th, Spurs 2nd. What a madness is this? But, yeah, I think it's all about the league, and I think we have to just do what we can at this point. We did go out to Real Madrid in both of the cup competitions, the Super Cup semi-final and the quarter-final and the Copa del Rey. A little bit disappointing on those. The club vision is currently a C. We are currently disappointing in winning La Liga. We're seconds. I mean, bored. Come on now. Apparently, we're challenging for the Champions League at the moment, and they're pleased about that. They don't care about the Super Copa, and they're very disappointed about the Copa del Rey. I mean, the fans are, well, they are, aren't they? They don't look overly enthusiastic. I'm starting to think that this should have been more than one season of a save. Starting to think we should have put a bit more time into it. But hey, we're here now. In terms of players' happiness, problems aplenty. Kessié hasn't been playing. Again, none of this is my fault because we've simulated, but Kessié is unhappy. I don't know how he has not been starting games because he would have been my starting defensive midfielder. Bearing in mind as well, Sergio Busquets is an old man. I don't really understand what's going on here, but here's the big news. 1, 2, 3, 4 players all leaving in the summer. Sergio Roberto going to Inter. Hector Bellerin going to Atletico. Man United is Sergio Busquets' location, and Marcos Alonso is going to Juventus. And we've also got Gabriel Barbosa and Rafinha, both barely played, both looking to leave as well. But all of that aside, we're second in the table, which is pretty good. All that's left for us to do, simulate to the end of the season and see whether we can close that gap with Real Madrid and pull out an unlikely league title. I've got a theory, and that theory is that it's probably very unlikely. Right, it is really important to stress that I have not looked at the top of the screen to see where we finished in the table. I saw that the simulation, that the holiday had finished. I've hit record. And we'll see what happens. My eyes keep glancing at the FM screen, and there's nothing that's giving anything away, but I know right on the top line, I know that's going to give it away, so I'm avoiding looking at that top line. I know it's going to say second, I know it is, but you never know, you never know. Right, are we ready? I don't think I am. Are we ready? What I'm going to do, I'm going to hit competitions, because if I try and click the La Liga thing at the top, I am going to end up seeing the results, so I'm going to click on competitions. What doesn't help is my webcam is on the top of my monitor, and now I've got FM open. Just to the side is where it's written, and I'm really trying to make sure I'm not looking there. Okay, I'm going to click on competitions, and we're going to find out together, okay? I think we finished second, which is fine. If we finish second, it's not the end of the world, because if we finish second, to be honest, with Real Madrid the way that they are, with all the young talent they've got, it's a good achievement. It's just how close we've got. So if we've finished second within 3 points, I'll be very happy. Not very happy. I'll be happy enough. It'll be a fail because we set out to win the league, but I'll be happy. So, okay, moment of truth. How bad was it? Yes! Get in there! I've got so excited I went off the screen. First place in La Liga. Get in there by a point. Oh my word, that must have been on the final day of the season, surely. What happened? What? Okay, right, let's break this down. So, we both won on the final day. When did it happen then? Right, we beat Celta Vigo there. Real Madrid lost against Valencia. And that was the turning point. And we win the league by a point. Lewandowski, though, 39 goals in, wow, I was going to say 38 games. Did he play 38 games? He played 35 games. What a record from Lewandowski. And Ter Stegen ended up with the most clean sheets. At the start of the season, he was nowhere near that in those first few games. Did we get anyone in the assist chart as well? Pedri was there on 9. Gavi was there on 8. Alba on 7. Kounde on 7. Marcos Alonso on 6. Wow. Did we get anyone else on the goal chart? Ferran Torres scored 10. He's the next one. Ansu Fati on 9. So most of the goals were from Lewandowski, as you would expect. Wow. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. Now, what I am noticing, and I didn't look on the screen actually for it, is that there's no fixture scheduled, which means we didn't make it through to the Champions League final. So how did we do in the Champions League? We got knocked out by Manchester City in the first round, which I remember saying at the time, I think. Chances of us getting past Man City are slim to none. So let's have a look at the results for the second half of the season, which started around here. It was around the Elche game, because Elche, I think, were the first team we played in the season, weren't they? Yes, they were. So it was at Elche. We started here. We beat Man City 3-2 in the first leg and lost 2-0 at the City of Manchester Stadium. It's the Etihad. We lost 2-0 after beating them 3-2. That's heartbreaking. A Lewandowski hat-trick, not enough to put us through. We lost against Valladolid. And then we didn't lose a game after that Man City game. We only dropped points against Sevilla. That's a great run to the end of the season. That's ended up winning us the title. Beat Real Madrid 1-0. Lewandowski, the man who did it. That's sensational. That's absolutely sensational. I have no words for that because we have not controlled the team whatsoever. Well, correction. I controlled the team. I controlled the team in these games here. So I did control us for the Real Madrid game, which was not ideal. But that is sensational. That is genuinely sensational. I'm so happy with how that has gone. By the way, if I keep glancing to the side, I do just want to point out, World Cup's currently on. Croatia and Belgium in their final group game. And Croatia have just got a penalty. So if I keep looking over there, that's the reason why. Because they've just given away a penalty. That's a hell of a season. Results-wise. Let's have a quick look at the squad hub. Let's have a look at the players. And let's see who's done what. So, ter Stegen, as you would expect, most appearances in the season. Played every game. Pena didn't end up getting a look in. So actually, we were right to not sign a goalkeeper because we didn't need one in the end. We got quite lucky with that. Lewandowski, 46 from 46, and he got 1 assist as well. I mean, he might be 34 years old now, and I imagine some of his stats are... No, his stats aren't dropping. His dribbling's the only thing that's gone down. He's actually gotten better at tackling, Lewandowski. He's gotten better at tackling at 34 years old. What an absolute legend. Pedri has just gotten better and better as well. Only 3 goals and 11 assists, so not the biggest contribution. He's actually down on his XG, but he has definitely gotten better. I mean, he's going to be a superstar, isn't he, in real life? Let's be completely clear. Skriniar was next on the appearance. He's got a couple of goals. I mean, he was solid as a rock at the back from the looks of things. Absolutely superb. What I was saying about the penalty, it's just gone to VAR. So again, if I keep looking over, I do apologise. I probably should just stop recording, but I kind of want to get this out of the way now. Kounde was next with his appearances. Didn't score any goals, but did get 8 assists, as did Ferran Torres, but he did score 10 goals. He did very well, bang on with his XG pretty much. Ansu Fati scoring over his XG with 11 goals in 42, 6 assists as well. Araujo in defence as well, the vice-captain. 45 appearances in total, 5 goals, no assists, did very, very well. Gavi in the midfield, played 34 times from the start, 13 on substitution appearances, 7 goals, 9 assists. Frankie de Jong didn't get as many assists as I would have thought from a playmaker, but then, to be honest, as long as he was involved in the play, that's all I really care about, and he obviously was. Sergio Busquets played a lot more football than I expected him to. I expected Franck Kessié to be playing more football, but do you know what? Whatever works, works, and Sergio Busquets apparently still got it. Jordi Alba still playing a decent amount of football as well. He did a very good job. Fair play to that man. Marcos Alonso played a decent amount. Didn't play loads, but did okay. I mean, these guys are all rotation players. It's good to see Pedro Gonçalves actually getting a few goals and assists. Playing 27 times in total. 14 of those starts. Kessié, I can't believe he only started 5 times. Like, that's ridiculous to me. To me, she should have been the rock at the base of our midfield. I don't think Croatia have got a penalty, by the way. By the time you see this, the game's already happened. It doesn't matter. The player who I think can feel the most aggrieved is probably Gabriel Barbosa. 2 goals, 2 assists. Didn't start a single game for us because Lewandowski... So who started when Lewandowski didn't? Because Lewandowski didn't play every game. So did Ferran Torres play? Was it Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati? I mean, he's just played as a winger in those games. Let me just... I'm really curious on this now. The only other person it could be, I would say, is Ansu Fati. Not down as a striker in any of those games. So, who else played as a striker? Because someone did. One of you boys played as a striker. Was it Pedro? Did Pedro play as a striker? Because he can play as a striker. He can do the job there. No, he played as a Raumdeuter, apparently, in that game. Didn't play as a striker, though. Who played? I'd love to know who played as a striker in the games where Lewandowski didn't play. I mean, that doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is we have won the league. We did go out of every other competition. 2 of them by Real Madrid. But we got the last laugh on Real Madrid in the end by winning the league. I mean, look at that table, by the way. We started the first day of the season first. Went down to 10th. Recovered to 5th. Spent a bunch of time in 3rd. Spent the entire season in 2nd. And then the final 2 games. We get top of the league. We beat Real Madrid to the title. And Barcelona, champions of Spain. The board, I'm not going to say they're delighted. But they'll take it. We won the league. That's what they really wanted us to do. That's balanced out Champions League failure. Challenging for the Copa del Rey, we didn't challenge for it at all. We failed that. They didn't care about the Super Cup, fortunately. So I do feel like that probably overbalances the two. Just about. And also, we worked within our wage budget as well, which definitely helps. We also signed high reputation players, which the board are happy with. The supporters, we finished above Espanyol. We finished above Real Madrid. We won La Liga. What more is there to say? For a laugh, let's have a look at the finances. Yikes. £191 million in the red. Bearing in mind, we didn't spend that much, really, in the transfer window. I mean, if we go back and have a look, what did we spend? We spent 47, 52, let's call it 52. 52, 82, 85, 95, £101 million on 3 players. Okay. And it's more like £103.5 million. £103.5 million on 3 players. Okay, it's a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that bad. Bearing in mind as well, we did sell Memphis Depay and Eric Garcia for £43 million as well. So we did make some of that money back. So that's not us. That's just Barcelona being Barcelona. We did increase the transfer debt just a bit. Our net debt is over £1 billion. I am very glad this is only a 1-season thing. The projection's only going to get worse as time goes on. I mean, I don't know if I've got the patience to return to Barcelona this year. I'm tempted at some point to try and do a financial rebuild job on Barcelona. We're not going to do that this year, I don't think. But it might be one for FM24, possibly. But that's it. We won La Liga. We did the rebuild. We completed the rebuild successfully. Let's not talk about the Champions League. I think that's a job well done. I'm going to put my glasses back on now because I did kind of just throw them to the ground. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please leave a like on the video for me and subscribe so you never miss any Football Manager content from the channel. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.